You're listening to the True Crime Nation podcast with Todd and Brian. If you're enjoying the show, email us at truecrimenation@outlook.com. Let's start the show. Welcome to the True Crime Nation podcast, everyone. I'm Brian. That guy right over there with me is Todd.
Hey, Brian. I'm excited about doing this show with you, man. Getting started here on our first episode. So who are we talking about today? Who are we talking about?
We're going to kick off this thing with probably one of the more well-known, I don't want to say popular, but I guess he is one of the most well-known, most popular serial killers, Ted Bundy.
Oh, man, Ted Bundy.
Yeah. One of the most prolific serial killers, if you want to call him that.
Very demented man.
Yeah, he was out there, but super smart.
Yes.
I mean, this guy had a really high IQ. Just, he was going to be a politician.
He was trying to be a lawyer too, or he went to law school.
Trying to be a lawyer. He was in law school. Yeah, he was in law school. It says the intelligent, engaging law student murdered at least 20 women in a spree that spanned the country until his arrest in 1979. So he went from 74 to 79. That's a long time.
Yeah, and a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Supposedly there's more. They just haven't recorded or proven those, right?
Right.
So what do you know about this guy, man? What was his his MO, so to speak? What did he do?
He just, he was the very personable, very charming, very handsome kind of guy that everybody said, and he just could talk women into helping him out and doing stuff. A couple of times he wore a cast to get women to help him, and they were never seen again.
Yeah.
So he was very, very charming, very smooth. He knew what he was doing. I don't want to say he was crazy. He's definitely psychotic, but I don't want to call him crazy because I don't think he was crazy. No. I think he was well aware of what he was doing.
He definitely was a smart, intelligent man. I know that didn't he escape a couple times after they caught him?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, one time they let him go because they thought it was the wrong guy. They didn't have enough evidence. Mm-hmm.
So from what I know about this guy is he drove this Volkswagen Bug, I believe. It was either blue or yellow. I can't remember.
Yellow Bug.
Yellow Bug.
Mm-hmm.
And he drove this thing around. Was he based out of? Do you know where he was based out of? These happened in Colorado? Seattle.
No,
okay.
Seattle, Washington.
So he drove this bug around, and he would, he was an attractive, smart man, very, very easy to talk to, very personal, like you said, and he would meet women and talk to women and get them to go for a ride, and I think he would end up hitting them over the head and handcuffing them and then doing his thing,
usually.
Which was sick-ass shit. I know that from what I've heard and read.
Yeah, he was not nice about it.
I mean, the things that he did.
I don't know what his thing was about women, man, but he was not a fan.
No, I think he had some sexual deviancy going on too, from what I've heard about things. But he would take these women. I believe he would rape them, kill them, and then rape them, and then either dismember or just bury their bodies, and then go back and visit these deceased, which is disgusting in itself. But so this guy was pretty out there, man. I mean, one word.
So the first one was on January 4th, 1974. Karen Sparks. She was one of the few that survived. Although she had permanent brain damage from the attack, but yeah, she was one of the few that attacked. She was a University of Puget Sound Law School student.
Didn't he go after college girls? That was his kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Young, pretty girls.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Do you know how she got away? That gal? Does it say?
It doesn't say. Mm-mm. It was at her home. I think he just got sloppy. I think he just wasn't sure what he was doing. It was his first one, so
Trying to learn.
he probably didn't mean to leave her alive. She probably just survived.
He was learning how to do his thing.
Mm-hmm. That would be my guess.
Creepy.
I know. Weird.
So this dude, man, I mean, he was born, it says November 1946 in Vermont. Died January 24th, 1989 in Florida.
Yep, that's when they threw the switch.
You know, another thing about this guy was, we'll talk about him. You know, they let him out because they thought they had the wrong guy. I know they caught him again. And
Yeah, a couple times.
I don't know what, at that point, I don't think they realized who he was, but they knew he had some attachment to some missing women or something like that. But the dude escaped. He quit eating. He went on a starvation thing, you know, and they thought he was just protesting. But he literally got skinny enough to crawl through the vent in the ceiling of his cell and get out. And
See, that's the genius part.
I think he escaped for like, you know, a week or so, running around the mountain somewhere, and they finally caught him, or I think the wilderness got to him, and he finally kind of came out into the open a little bit, and that's how he got caught. But I know there was a story too where he approached a gal, and this gal got away as well. He approached a gal in the mall and told her he was a cop, and she needed to come with him for some made up story he made up, and she did.
That was one of them.
And she mentioned that I could smell alcohol on his breath when he approached me, which threw me off. But she went ahead and she got in. I think he hit her in the head or something like that, but somehow she got out of the cuffs and got away. I don't remember that girl's name either, but I had heard that story. Didn't you say that there was a famous singer that he almost ended up
Debbie Harry.
Demise too? Debbie
From
Harry.
Blondie. Yeah. Yeah, they were at a party or something in L.A. Might have been. I don't know. I don't remember where it was. And they were talking. And they were getting ready to leave. She was going to leave with him, and then something happened. She didn't end up going with him. But, yeah, it would have been no Blondie if that had happened.
Isn't that weird?
So, yeah, it's weird. Funny how things like that happen, though.
Yeah. It says here he had a difficult childhood, a strained relationship with his stepfather, and a shyness made him a frequent target of bullying.
Yeah, but see, I was watching that documentary, and they said that his family life wasn't that bad on the documentary. Yeah. So I don't know. I was just watching that this morning, and it said, you know, his mom was normal, and his dad was a normal dad. It
says he sexually assaulted and killed several women in Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Utah, and Florida. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Must have been Seattle.
Estimated that he was responsible for hundreds of deaths. Yeah, the guy to do something like that, just that many people in general before he got caught, very intelligent man, right? I mean, he has to be sleuthful.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a predator, obviously, planning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess his thing was he would just get a girl in his car, do his thing, get her knocked unconscious, handcuff her, and drive her up into the mountains.
Bash her over the head, yeah.
And that was, you know, as long as no one saw him leave with her, who's going to know?
Yeah. But things were different. I mean, the 70s and into the 80s were just, you know, there was no internet. There was no cell phone. There was no anything to catch anybody doing anything. So it was just, you know, they could get away with more back then.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think.
Now they just walk out in the street and kill you.
Right.
You know, they don't care.
I think the thing that gets me about this guy the most is that he was convicted of a rape and murder of a 12-year-old girl. There was no limits to this guy. If you were female, didn't matter. I mean, probably under the age of a certain age, but you know, he probably would have killed an older women too if it suited him.
Oh, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one was 1980, January 7th, 1980. Brought to Orlando for a second murder trial in a half-year span, Bundy is undone by the testimony of a firefighter who had seen the suspected lead the 12-year-old.
No one was safe with this guy on the streets, you know. I mean, it's very possible, and I'm sure it goes on today. There's I don't know how many serial killers are out there, but you know, it scares me that, you know, family and friends that are females or males, I guess. There's that too. That there's sick people out there looking to capture and kill and do whatever to people.
Oh yeah, I don't know what is the mentality. I guess that's why we're doing this podcast, trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
February 9th, 1978, Bundy strikes one more time. 7th grader Kimberly Leach disappears in the middle of the day from Florida's Lake City Junior High School. At 12 years of age, she is significantly younger than Bundy's usual victims. Her body is found 2 months later under a shed in Swanee River State Park. 12 years old.
I wonder if he got desperate and that's why he went after her.
What prompted that? Yeah, no, that's...
I mean, what did we say? How many?
Well, January 15th, he just killed 2. I mean,
of the confirmed in that time span, he averaged like at least 6 murders a year.
Yeah, from 74 to 78.
Like every other month, this guy was going out and grabbing some girl and doing this. On average, if not more.
Well, he did a couple of them. He did 2 in one day. So, oh yeah, here's that one. December 30th, 1977. A slimmed down Bundy disappears from his prison cell. Moved to an allegedly more secure facility in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Bundy loses enough weight to squeeze through an opening, cut through his ceiling and into the duct system. He exits into the empty apartment of a prison worker, changes clothes, and escapes once again, this time leaving Colorado behind and eventually winding up in northern Florida. So he did get out, and he took off to Florida.
And that's when he found that 12-year-old girl, and then more.
Yeah. Then after that, it was 1978, and he killed 2 students from Florida State.
I want to say that when they captured this guy, and this last time, that they didn't realize that how serious this guy was. I don't know if they knew that he was who he was. They didn't realize he was what he was. I think they just thought he was tied to a murder case, maybe a rape case, something like that. Didn't realize the severity and didn't keep him in lockdown, which they would have probably.
Yeah, they should have.
But, you know, as smart as he was, but I guess back then, like you said, technology, he didn't know. But as smart as he was, the thing that actually got him and caught him, convicted him, was his teeth, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he apparently bit one, and that's how they got him.
He had bit a girl.
July 18th, 1979, prosecutors focus on Bundy's teeth. Despite defense objections to his testimony being permitted, forensic dentist Richard Soveron compares large photographs of Bundy's teeth to those of the bite marks found on one of the FSU students. That claimed to be a match.
Busted.
Yep.
So, yeah, this guy was just an animal, man.
I think by that time he was just sloppy, because when he got to Florida and he got the FSU students, the one that he bit that got him caught, I just think he was sloppy by that time, and he just...
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was. I think he was just to a point where it's like, I don't care if I get caught at this point. I'm just going to go with it.
Right. Well, he was probably thinking, well, they're never going to catch me. I'm too good.
Or that too. You know,
I'm a genius. They're dumb.
They'd already
They had me twice, and I got away.
Yep.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But yeah, the teeth marks, he didn't think about that, I don't think. But you know, hey, again, this guy's a sick bastard. What the things that he's doing, biting these chicks and I mean, come on.
Yep.
He was an animal, dude.
Yep. He was.
Probably the worst one of them all, you know.
Definitely a psychopath. Well, he's up there.
I mean, it's one thing to just kill
I would say the serial killers that eat their people are probably the worst of all, but
yeah.
But we'll talk about that another
We got
time.
that one to do on an episode, of course.
Yep.
But I mean, this guy was bad enough. I had heard some things that he had done, and with removing heads, and I don't want to go into detail because it's so morbid, but just, talking about when he finally confessed and he told some things and told where these bodies were, it was just so disgusting. So disgusting. And how we would go back and visit these things. It disgusts me to talk about these guys, I'll be honest. But it's got to be done.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here's the one that August 26, 1975, Bundy is briefly apprehended. This is one of the times where he gets away. Highway Patrol, where they let him go. Highway Patrol Sergeant Bob Hayward stops a tan Volkswagen Beetle that had been lingering outside a home in Granger, Utah. Hayward arrests the shaggy-haired driver after finding a ski mask, a crowbar, an ice pick, and handcuffs in the car. The charges of evading police aren't enough to keep him detained for long, and Bundy is soon released.
I mean...
Unbelievable. They had him. They had him
with
but I couldn't hold him.
They had him with a serial killer starter kit, for God's sake.
Yeah. Right down to the Volkswagen. Which I think they all had back then.
Wasn't he married for a while he was doing some of this?
He was. Yep, he was.
And his wife had no clue.
And she had a child. It wasn't his kid, but she had a kid.
Did she ever admit to thinking that he was up to something? I mean, could she have prevented this a long time ago had she stepped forward and said, "Hey, I think my husband's killing people"?
I don't think so.
They even did a documentary on him. Well, they did a show on him. Zac Efron played him. Did you see that?
Yeah, I didn't watch that yet, but I saw that.
That is a good one, too.
I heard he did a great job.
He did a great job doing it. But yeah, just a sick-ass guy, man. I mean... Yeah, he was out there. It makes you wonder who you can trust and who you can't.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Bundy gets married before receiving another death sentence.
Oh, that's right. He married some chick when he was in prison.
He got married again, yeah.
Who in their right mind would marry someone like that? What are you doing that for? For fame?
You know what? There's a whole community of these women out there that get into relationships with these convicted felons that are either spending life in prison or on death row. It's a bizarre, man. It is bizarre.
It is bizarre.
We'll have to cover that sometime too.
They probably will be listening to this show, I'm guessing. See who they can hook up
probably
with.
To find their next husband.
Hey, we're not a dating app. We're not here to hook people up. We're here to talk about gruesome murder bullshit.
We're here to talk about, true crime, not to hook somebody up.
Man, that's right. I wonder if he was having conjugal visits. Did he not get her pregnant? Am I thinking a different guy here? Did you read that?
No, I don't think it was.
Must have been a different dude.
At least it didn't say in there, but I don't think so.
There's a lot of documentaries about this guy out there. If you guys are into,
oh yeah, I mean, you can,
just Google him.
I hope we listen to our show, but you can go find it for yourself, man. They're all over the place.
Yeah,
he was one of the.
Yeah, on Hulu, probably Netflix. Just Google him. He's out there. It's very interesting to watch. It keeps you glued in, but it's also, like I said, it's just the reality.
Yeah, you just, after watching it, you just sit there like, what? How does somebody get to that point where they can do that to somebody?
Yeah.
What is that mentality? What is that brain? What is that process? Is there something in the brain that's just not connected?
I think a lot of it.
I don't get it.
I think a lot of it in his case had to do with sexual desire, and like you said, a thing against women. But how do you get to that point where your mind flips that switch and says, "Yeah, I'm going to kill somebody. I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm going to keep doing it."
I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, he wasn't crazy. A lot of people are going to say he was, but I don't think he was. I don't think he was crazy. He knew what he was doing.
He was smart.
Psychotic, yes.
Yeah,
he was a genius.
Yeah, he wasn't insane. He couldn't have pled insanity. There's no way.
No. Mm-mm.
And I remember, well, we were in high school, right? We were probably in our senior year when this happened. I just remember hearing about his execution. I really didn't know who the guy was. I maybe had heard his name before, but
89, yeah.
I didn't know much about him or what his motive was or what he did. I just knew that he killed people. But when I found out,
Not then, yeah. When they announced it, they were just like, notorious serial killer Ted Bundy was put to death today. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm like, Ted Bundy.
Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one thing for a serial killer to kill anybody, men, women, whatever. But women, way more susceptible, especially if it's a man doing it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they just didn't have a chance.
Yeah. And it's, that's a fact. I mean, a lot of women are going to listen to this and go, that's not true. And it is true.
Yeah.
Men are stronger than women,
Yeah.
especially back then.
I tell my wife all the time, you got to be leery of people out there. You don't know. There could be some weirdos everywhere.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a serial killer within our 20-mile radius, man, to be honest with you. Who knows?
Yeah.
I hope not.
I hope not, too, because I don't want to find them.
There's just a lot of sick, twisted people out there. And like you said, I don't know what flips that switch in their mind or what makes them...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know.
But
are they born like that? Is that a something that just emerges later on as they get older in life? Some people say you can tell in their childhood if they're like cruel to animals and killing animals and shit. But I don't know. I don't know if you can. I don't know if that's a thing.
I think some people just have a sick, deep psyche. I want to say that everybody's kind of got a little bit of morbid in them, a little bit of twisted thought from time to time, but I don't know. I know sometimes I've thought weird things, nothing like killing somebody, but you know how your mind wanders and stuff like that. But these guys take it to a different level and they follow through with it. The rush that they probably get from it is their satisfaction. With him, I'm guessing he was getting both sexual satisfaction and the rush of the murdering somebody and whatnot. So it was probably an ultimate high for him.
Right.
And that's what motivated this guy.
Yeah. And eventually I think they get to that. If they go on long enough, I think they just get to the point where they think, oh, wow, I'm invincible. I mean, nobody can touch me.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he was.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he be?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was allowed to get away with it for so long. And
he was.
What was it? 5 years, 6 year span or something like that? 74 to 79?
74 to 78.
Yeah.
78 is when they got him.
So the scary thing to me is there's probably other dudes like him out there. Maybe not as severe, but I'm sure there's dudes out there that are doing it or thinking about it. The scary thing is,
I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure a lot of people out there know people like that are very introverted, very socially awkward. You know what I mean? I mean,
right.
we might even work with a couple of them.
We know people, don't we? What would you do, man, if you had a good friend that you had suspicion that they were involved in some serious serial killing type murders? Would you turn them in on a suspicion? Would it be tough to do?
Yeah, I think it would be tough to do. Number one, if you don't have really evidence, what are you going to do? You can't really, go to the police with nothing and say, hey, this guy's killing people.
Right.
And if you do, and he finds out it was you might be next on the list.
I know.
So
what if I was a single dude, right? And you know me, and I'm going out with these chicks every other week or something like that, and you're reading in the paper that these girls I'm going out with are coming up missing. What do you do?
I don't know. I guess I would, you know what I would do? I would make an anonymous phone call.
There you go. There you go. I just think there's.
I don't know how you do that nowadays, but
yeah, I just think there's a lot of people out there that probably know more than they're letting on, and they should probably say things.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know if it's like that where everybody lives, but where we live, we have Crime Stoppers. I think that's a national thing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And they supposedly don't have caller ID or anything, so call Crime Stoppers and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. So and so is, I think you might want to look into this guy or girl or whoever.
Yeah. Again, though, like you said, these guys are very smart, very intelligent, can hide things very well. So you really don't know. You don't know who could be a Ted
Yeah,
Bundy.
that's the thing. Most serial killers have very high IQs.
They would have to be,
No,
honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that wraps up this episode with Ted, unless you got more to talk about on that sick guy.
No, he was just, he was out there. He was definitely one of the most prolific serial killers of our time. And I hate to say that, but it's true. So if anybody knows suspects anything about anybody that they have run into or even know, tell somebody. Get the suspicion rolling. We can, especially nowadays in the age of connectedness, I guess.
Yeah. You can't be too safe, can you?
Nope. I hope you guys stick around. This is going to get better and better. We'll get it dialed in, and
we'll learn our system
we'll
here.
Talk about some more awesome stuff. Yep. And if you have something you want us to talk about, just hit us up with the email, truecrimenation@outlook.com, and let us know.
You got
and
it.
We'll get it on here and we'll talk about it.
You got it.